Hello my friends, we seem to be in quite a predicament today. We are surrounded by enemy robots and all we have are some apples and turnips. I don't know what this is about, so let's go ahead and grab an apple and... Oh, there we go, awesome. So we have a firepower powered up and these guys have no chance. What if I eat a turnip? Oh no, I seem to have lost all my powers. Okay, there's one more apple so we're okay. Alright, there we go! And we can take out this last guy. Welcome to the 3D Fireball tutorial. Today, my friends, we'll be showing you how to power up by grabbing a nice 3D apple so that you can shoot as many fireballs as your heart desires. And we can also show you how to turn it off with a trigger that could be a turnip, or getting hit by an enemy, or whatever you want. This is going to be super fun and super useful for your games. If you stick around to the end, I'll give you the demo code for this level as well, so you can mess around with these robots to your heart's content. To make this fancy fireball, there are actually only 3 steps. We're going to start with the power up and power down, then we're going to do the aesthetics, and finally we're going to have the fireball launch. Let's start with the power up and power down. Give yourself a little bit of space, and we're going to go into the state change object break nodon. So this will tell us when something breaks. We're going to want, of course, the apple for one of them, and we're going to copy it and actually make a turnip for the other one. These are going to act as our state changers, so we're going to grab a counter, and we're going to plug the apple into the count up, and the turnip into the count down. Pretty simple. Head into the settings here, starting value should be 0. We're going to range this from 0 to 1, and we're going to have this on count timing while not 0. This counter is going to go out to wormhole entrance, and let's go ahead and make it an F for fireball. Then hook it up to your counter, and that's your power up, power down. You can put that anywhere you want since it doesn't have any blue connections. So now when we collect an apple, we should power up to 1, and when we get a turnip, we'll power down to 0. Next up is the aesthetic, so we're going to grab a program layout wormhole exit, and before, remember we had F for fireball. We're going to be needing that one now. Next we're going to call up our first teleporter, so grab the teleport entrance here, and we're going to actually make this one B, turn it invisible, and we want it to teleport the cylinder. Other than that, we want center center. Then we're going to call up an object, the cylinder that it's going to teleport, and make this as small as possible. Turn everything off except for movable. We'll have the material be 0 gravity, and the connection point will be center center. Everything else should be good. Let's hook this up to the teleporter here with the top circle and kind of move it over here. Next we're going to call up an effect, and this is actually what the aesthetics are going to be. Under special object, let's grab explosion effect and make it as small as possible. Then we're going into the settings, change it from camera to world, and while not 0. Then we're going to turn the properties invisible. Connect this effect to your cylinder, and then have your trigger be from F, and also trigger the teleport object. So we're going to be teleporting this cylinder constantly, and having the explosion effect constantly go off. Let's go ahead and call up a teleport exit from here, so that we have a place to send it. Remember, we're using B for this one. Turn it invisible, and reset the physics. Should be connected center center as well, and hook it up to the person. So now we should have it so that there's little explosions going off, reminding the player that they're powered up. So when we start, we have nothing. I'm going to grab one of the apples, and there we go. We have these nice little explosions telling the player that they have a power up. You can't really change the color of the person in this game very easily, so this is the next best thing. Let's go to the final and most important step. So let's take a button. I'm going to use the Y button to activate the fireball, and we're going to call up a flag nodon to connect to this. So the Y button is going to trigger this. Let's do it on press. And the flag nodon is going to connect into a timer. The timer will be for 3 seconds, and this is how long the fireball will stay lit. We're also going to need to call up an AND nodon to kind of make a switch here. So the flag is going to trigger the timer, and the timer is going to go into the AND nodon, as well as the flag. And this is going to also close the flag after 3 seconds. Next, we're going to need a program layout wormhole exit, and let's go ahead and call up an F for fireball. We'll go ahead and copy the and up here. So we're going to have 1/2 from the flag, make sure it's on, and then we want to make sure that the fireball is active so that we've eaten an apple in order to trigger the effects. Next, we're going to need an actual fireball, so let's grab a sphere, head into the settings, and we're going to make this one 0.2 is a good size. Make sure it's not destructible, but destructive to whatever you want to destroy. In our case, that's going to be the robot. Also, we want the material to be bouncy. Oh, also make sure that you turn your sphere invisible. Next, we're going to want to make the texture for the fireball. Here, I've just made a nice fireball texture with yellow, orange, and red in the middle on all sides in the same size, 0.2 by 0.2. Connect it up to here. And let's go ahead and grab an effect as well. We're going to want the explosion, and you don't want to make it too big, but a little bit bigger than the fireball makes a pretty cool effect. Inside the effect settings, you want to make sure you change it to while not 0 and in the world as well as invisible. Now, the and function is going to activate both the texture and the effect from here, so that when we trigger this, it's going to be a fireball that turns visible and also that has some explosions. Of course, we're going to need a way to transport this, and that's the job of a teleport object. So we're going to hook up a teleport entrance to our sphere, head into the settings, and we're going to be teleporting the sphere, of course. Turn it invisible, and center seems to be good for that one as well. For the teleport exit, you can just go to the player and duplicate that one, then connect it up to the person. And in the settings, we're going to want to change the launch speed to pretty fast. I think 20 is a pretty good speed, and Z- direction. And of course, reset physics and a connection point of Z+ to Z-. Lastly, we're going to need something to trigger this. So if you remember before, we're using the Y button to send this one out. So we'll grab one of those. And we also want to make sure that the fireball wormhole is active. And lastly, we're going to use an AND node on to connect these two together. So once we meet these two conditions, we should be able to teleport the fireball forth. And let's check it out. All right, we grab an apple and we can shoot just like that. We grab a turnip and there's no shooting power. We grab an apple again and we got him. Simple as that. As promised, my friends, this is your reward for sticking around to the end. Here is the code for firepower, so enjoy playing around with that one. Until next time, happy shooting. God bless.